What's up, YouTube? Welcome to Play It Painted Live. We're going to start tonight's commission. I'm just going to let our client know that I've begun my live stream. And we're going to build and prep these models, and I'll go over those in just a second. All right. Then I got to open up my comments, so just bear with me for just a moment. If you are watching this on recording, you know how it goes. You probably want to fast forward the first, 5 minutes or so. Usually about as long as it takes me to get all my stuff together. Come on. So we'll see who shows up. So these are the DC Trinity models. So you got Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Okay. And they all look like pretty good models, but they each kind of have their unique considerations here. Let me pull up my live streaming. I have music going on in the background, so if it's too much distraction, let me know and I can stop the music. There we go. Okay, so live chat is open. If you're just joining us, let us know what you're painting or what you should be painting. Tonight's task is this Trinity. So what the client wants is they want to use these rubble bases, and they just want they want them to blend well, obviously, and then they want them to carry probably just a little bit more texture than what you have here. So we're going to take advantage of that. What up, pimps? What's up, Cameron? I'm going to prepare those. We're going to actually do what I usually consider to be a no-no, which is we're going to pin into the slot here. And I typically don't like that, but that's what we do. That's we also do what the client wants, right? So I'm going to get that ready. I'm going to find my pinning kit. I think I'm just going to pin these by hand. So I'm not going to use my my drill bit for this. We're going to use the actual kit, just so that if you are doing this, you can follow along. So you're going to use the red pin, the red bit, if you own this set. It's a really cool pinning set. And the glue that we're using is Loctite super glue. I just turned on IJ, The Last Crusade, and now I got you on. Nice. I like The Last Crusade. I think that the German chick on The Last Crusade, woo, she's nice to look at. Anyway, that's just me. I guess that makes me a pig by today's standards, right? You just judge her. Well, she's nice to look at. I know she's the bad guy or one of the bad guys, but wow, that is a teeny tiny arm. Joanne, let me see if I can see that. See how small that is? That's barely the size of the drill. So we're gonna use our handy dandy drill here. Luckily, there's not that many pieces to drill. That's not really the issue here. It's the size of things like this little tiny little arm. Be nice if they this was the joint at the if they did the joint here at the shoulder, but it's Night Models. They're not going to do something like that. That makes way too much sense. All right, that's my joke. Don't get all butthurt, you Night Models fans. I'm allowed to talk trash. Painted enough of these as it is. And you know me, I love these models. You know what? I'm going to work on my own Superman too while we're doing this. Just so, since I have a Superman and my client has a Superman, let's just do them both. I think I have a base I can use for Superman. Because it really isn't that much more effort if you're painting one Superman to paint two Supermans. So this is the Jim Lee Superman. So he has a much more like static pose, but that's okay. I like it, honestly. And look, this one doesn't even come with a character card, and it comes with a flat base. It's weird. I'm gonna switch it out and use one of these. Or do I have anything else cool? No, I'll just use a regular flagstone base for this. And here's the Superman. Ooh, he comes in more pieces than the other one. Hoser, we can love the model, but hate the way they put Batgirl and Copperhead. It's divided. That's right. So just I'm really liking this system now with the Loctite glue. It's just everything is so much cleaner now and smoother with this. Now that I have a system that I really like. Okay, so there's a tiny little pin there. See that? Ugh. That's no fun. But now we gotta do more. Which way is that? Shield facing out. I just gotta refer to the artwork there. No love stream is what he's asking me. Let me send him the YouTube link so he can watch along as we're going. 1 second, guys. I don't even know if you guys can hear the music going on in the background or not. Ugh. Why is this taking? There you go. There we go. Okay. Here we go. All right, back to it. Next up, we got this Superman head. Well, that is quite weird. It just fits. It actually fits over a knob here. And yeah, it's funny I use the word knob. I just need to put a tiny little flat edge on my knob. Haha. Haha. All right. I think it's funny. I don't care. My juvenile humor. That just seems like a weird thing to do. Like, why make the head separate when everybody knows you could have made this all a one-piece model? Everybody and their mom knows this is a one-piece model. This pose is no more three-dimensional than Ozymandias or any of the other one-piece models. Who else is one piece? Killer Croc. The Suicide Squad Killer Croc is one piece. And that's way more 3D than this model. All right. So we'll just put a little pin at the top of this. I have a little dilemma here. I love this pinning material so much, but I can't seem to find it on Amazon. So I got to keep looking. This is 0.015 inch. And it's somewhat hard to come by. Now, in all honesty, do I need to pin this head? Probably not. I mean, it's not like it's an arm that's like sticking way out and you can like knock it off with your thumb or something like that. So it's not that important. Okay, now here's the weird one. Here's Batman. Batman in his kind of Superman Buster armor. They could have easily made that a one-piece model. And that kind of fits in a ball joint right there. So I got a couple of little minor things to correct here. I'm going to give myself a little bit of an edge there. If I can. Like I can really get at that. Let's see. So it's actually, the pin should be going that way. This is going to be interesting. Now this, you wouldn't normally have to pin, except that this is the attachment to the base. So you better pin this. Otherwise the whole model will fall off. All right, let's try this. It's night, so of course they would never do that. They have a couple of one-piece sculpts. It's like they, every now and then they'll hire a sane person to break the models, and so that same person will go, oh no, you could totally just throw that in a cast as one piece. Okay. The one good news about using the tabs is that this is going to reduce the total number of pins that I have to cut. This one's going to go pretty deep. One, I cut a pretty long pin. Two, it's so hard to get into this angle. My fingers are too big. I'm going to see if I can use some tweezers and do it. Alexa, 4. It's a little, starting to get a little too intense there, cut chemist. There we go. I don't even know if you can make that out. Super tiny little pin there. All right. So what I'm going to do is, before I even build my Superman, I'm going to start to put these other ones together because I have to do more base work on this stuff than I do on my Superman. Oh, crud. And just like that, the super glue did not do a good job on this. That's just a weird angle to be holding that shield out. Should be more like that. I'm gonna do it like that. That's a weird, there we go. That looks better. So I gotta do that, and then I have to glue her tab into the base. This is like old school style. And give that a few minutes to dry so that I can put I'm going to use pumice, and then I'm going to stick additional cork in the pumice to give it a little more texture. Okay, so Wonder Woman's going to sit there. We're going to put Superman's head on. So Jose, you're going to like this. I'm part of this like War Boss Tay July painting challenge, and you're supposed to put up a video every day of your painting your painting progress and all this stuff, and then every day there's a daily question. And the cool thing was like the question for today was I think it was like name one of your favorite books to read or something like that, right? And War Boss Tay picked Starship Troopers. Okay, this is annoying. Okay, see that? That's what happens when you have a pre-textured base. File this down. So yeah, he picked Starship Troopers, and he was talking about how different it was from the movie. And I was like, huh, so you were reading about Juan Rico, the Filipino guy. That's awesome. Yeah, so I'm trying to get this flush because if you look, now Superman's leaning forward because of that stupid rock on the base. And the thing is, that rock is on every single base. So it's not like, if this isn't going to work, I'm just going to stick him on a flat base and I'm going to base her. You know what? Let's just do that. I'm not going to waste my time doing that. We're just going to put him on, we're going to put him on this kind of base, and then I'll just work around it. That's the problem. It's cool that the bases come already textured like that, but man, it causes all kinds of problems when you're just trying to glue. Like the guys that just glue the slot in, like I don't get that. All right, and even with this kind of weird, not dimensionally stable Superman, I'm gonna have to use some accelerant and make sure he's actually balanced before there we go. Okay. And finally, this weird thing here. So it's going to be like that. Yeah, I'm just going to texture Superman's base by hand. Yeah, that's just odd. It's not. So he's sticking his foot forward, which I guess is okay, but again, come on, guys. Could have done better than that. Anyways, let's stick him in the base here and see what we get. So there are front and back to slotted bases. There needs to, in general, there's more land in front of the base than the back. But as I put, his back foot is off the base. So I guess you put him in backwards so that he's more balanced. Yeah, it looks like you do. Because that puts his center of gravity back where it should be. Whoo-wee, man. They can't, Knight cannot win with me, can they? Like if I don't use their bases, then I'm complaining that the feet aren't flat and it's not designed to go on a flat base. If I do use their bases, then their feet aren't flat and it's not designed to go on. Anyway, so there's that dude. We're gonna go perfect because actually, I should go ahead and hit them with the pumice right now. Yeah. So we're gonna use the pumice as the glue instead of just using like Mod Podge or something like that. And I've become quite a fan of this stuff, this white pumice. It's got a little grit to it. It's not as heavy as the stucco texture. And if I'm sparing with it enough, it'll dry and it should give me what I want. Actually, Superman, I'm going to do the old way. And I'll show you how that works. And then, but because the pumice takes longer to dry, I'm going to put the pumice down. All right. Oh. Don't want the pumice on her sword. So it's not the most precise way of doing things, but my worry is it does actually, it's very hard to get it to where it's not going to cover up some of the details of the foot. Like you're trying to disguise that tab that's there. And in the process, you're going to get some of this pumice on the foot of the model. And it just looks just a little bit off because it's like they're standing in the mud. Okay. A weird like cat hair in there. Can't wait to see it when it's done. We'll see how far we get tonight. I mean, we started kind of late. My little guys couldn't sleep. They're still awake with mom, I think. No, I think the baby's out. I think the 3-year-old's probably still awake. Right? So I'll put a little bit back here. All right. So now let's add a little bit of texture to this. Well, first, I'll show you the easier way to do this is, this is like super old school GW style. So if you have a model like that, it's just on a flat base. Just get some white PVA glue. Some people call this school glue or whatever. And you want to fill that slot again. Essentially with a beveled base like this, or I'm sorry, with a lipped base like this, you want to fill that pretty much this whole well here with glue. Okay. And then I'll show you what I use here. This is like, so I have this tub here that's got different size gravel in it. Some of the pieces are quite big. So, and because this is going to take a while to dry, you notice I'm doing this all before I actually build my own Superman. Because that's what this entails. All right. And we'll see if I think the pumice should be wet enough to track some of this stuff in there. But let's start with this Superman. And we want to have a good mix of different size rubble there. And then you can even, if you want, like just for added, let's put another little piece of rubble on him. So I guess this is all going to be painted like it's rubble. So more like how the studio, how they use the default basing. Okay. And I'm going to do the same with Wonder Woman. Kind of just you can see there. And finally, Mr. Batman. This is interesting because I didn't do the whole base. I'm just going to do a little tiny little bead of glue on the back just to kind of help marry it all up. Because if it looks too smooth from one angle, then it's going to it'll throw the whole look off. Okay, so there we go. That's like super old school and basing 101. Hey, what's up, Blade Wolf? Welcome to the feed. Okay, so while that crud is drying, let's build my model, which isn't as cool as those models because it's an older model, but I still think it's cool. Its own unique knight model issues. So it's like, oh, here's a fun one. So they cut off they broke the arms at the forearm. Again with this weird channel system. So, whoa. See how there's like a channel there? And you just glue that in. Sounds good in theory, but it's not good. That's not a good way to break a model. It's just not, because you don't have a clean, you just do not have a clean joint no matter how you do it. Right? Because in order to do this, I have to pin this kind of weird. All right? That pin X is actually going to sit on top of the muscle. And then I'm going to have to patch around it. Thanks, Knight Models. Where did the pin go? Oh, there it is. I like your setup for Gotham, your table. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm kind of a mixed minds about the color of the pieces in it, because I want the pieces to look dull, like night lit. I'm almost doing Knights of Dice a disservice. You know what I mean? Oh, and that's where you get that. Because I had to pick. That's what happens when you're pinning and you try to go in a weird angle like that. You're just gonna break your pin, your bit. That sucks. So now I got to go find the bit that's gonna work. So I'm going to go into this set. Actually, I probably have another one from the other set that will work. Why do I get the feeling Knight Models does not know how to mold and set up model assembly? Well, I complain about them a lot, but the reality is their first kits are really no worse than anybody else's first kits. If you look at Weird Miniatures, their first kits, they just did weird cuts back then. They didn't really quite understand the more optimum way to divide models. So, you know, my only, so I want to give them some slack there, but at the same time, you know, we're not talking about Weird Miniatures 2009. You know, we're talking about Knight Models. These were made in 2013, 2014, 2015. There's no excuse for it at that point, right? We should know what we're doing by now. Keyword is should. We should know what we're doing right now. So we'll see how this basing goes with the gravel type basing. If we don't like it, I say we go back to base stamping because base stamping it's a cleaner process. And I like base stamping because it guarantees that your models, that your miniatures are all they're on uniform basing. You can use the same stamp for your whole crew. With the bridge, it reminds me of the Arkham City setup. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was going for there. But yeah, those Knights of Dice models are super nice, man. Those things are awesome. See how awkward the head fits on here. It's like there's a notch for it, but it's not. There's just so much flash around these joints. All right, so we're going to do the head. Man, I really love these pins, or sorry, the bits that have the handles to them. They're just such a nice set. It's getting a little too mellow. Alexa, shuffle live at OM Disc 2.
I can't find the album at OM Disc 2.
How dare you? Alexa, by Mark Farina.
Shuffling songs by Mark Farina.
Jeez. Maybe, sometimes Alexa, you have to say, you have to mispronounce something. Let's try this. Alexa, by album live at Disc 2.
I can't find songs by album live at Disc 2.
Oh, how dare you? We're like trapped in this weird like Tracy Chapman. Alexa, shuffle live at OM Disc 1 by Derek Carter.
I can't find the album live at OM Disc 1 by Derek Carter.
How dare you? That's in my music. Whatever. Let's just get this Tracy Chapman shit. Alexa, next track. Are you hearing this? Wait. All right, so now we're going to drill. Alexa, shuffle album live at OM by Mark Farina.
I can't find the album live at All Win by Mark Farina.
Wow. I give up. I could probably have her do it from the Alexa app. Do I have the? I think I have the Alexa app. Let's see. Not even on here, is it? No wonder. What a bummer. How's it not in here? I guess I never imported it into Amazon proper. What's on this? No. I guess we're just stuck with that. Anyway, let's keep going. Sorry about that. Brief intermission there. Yeah, this is Alexa. Next track. That's just driving me crazy. That's not that terrible of a joy. Well, I'm going to split. See you, Cameron. Have a good one, dude. Oh, man. It's like the worst. I can't get my... If I can't get the specific music I need playing. It's just me, though. Think about the Wonder Woman set. I think it looks amazing, and I want it. I don't. The Wonder Woman miniature itself looks beautiful, but it's almost too unwieldy for me to actually like want to put in a case and carry around and game with. You know what I mean? She's on a horse, and she's sticking a sword directly up in the air. So what you're going to have to do to get that to fit in a case is going to be a little bit of a nightmare. Then, and then you're going to put it out on the board, and you got this big, heavy. You're still trying to find your groove. I know. I do love that Amazon set, though. I'm way more interested in the actual Amazon set because the models are amazing, and that's like a crew unto its own. You know what I mean? You don't have, and I think you don't need a. You don't. I don't think the crew itself requires a light endpoint.
There are all kinds of sounds about us all the time.
Wow.
This first segment of the record is designed to improve measurably your listening ability.
Okay.
That's why it's
So.
first, and that's why it's important that you listen as well as you know how.
Oh, there's that Superman. So now I got to stick him. He's got a much bigger head. Look at it. Look at the head on that Superman versus this Superman. That dude's got a bean on him. All right. Let's find a place to put him in here. But yeah, I don't know. The models just look so good. I don't really have any interest in playing them. More than likely, what I would do is, if I own them, is I would paint them, and then like I'd want to field them in Frostgrave or something like that, or in Eldorado, or a more fantasy setting game. For Batman, I think that it's just too difficult. You have a 4-model crew, no real way to get around the board. You'll kill anything you hit. I give you that. I mean, the most basic Amazon strength 3+, which is amazing, but again, you know, in an objective-based game, you're still not going to be winning a lot of games with them. You're going to be killing a lot of stuff. Hey, what's up, Tori? Welcome to the feed. I don't know. Yeah, it's totally a for fun crew. The Wonder Woman model I would want to own, but like I would paint that, set it up on my desk or something. I really don't think I would break that out for games. And then, like I was saying, like I would barely even consider that for the Amazons, just because there's such a, you know, kind of an off crew. Like I don't know. It just seems weird. Like, who are they going to fight? Watchmen? Okay, that might. I'm really, really hoping they make Bizarro, because then you can field a true Red Hood in the Outlaws team. And who wouldn't want Bizarro? If they make Bizarro, I'll tell you right now, and this isn't much of a claim, but if they make Bizarro, I will definitely start a Red Hood in the Outlaws crew. I know that means nothing, because I probably will do that anyway. But yeah, Bizarro, Artemis, and Red Hood, and I'm in. All right, let's get some airbrushing on these guys. I'm convinced the Watchmen is a bad team. They're a bad team for Batman. Can you win games with them? Yes. Can you win consistent games with them? No. I don't think so. I don't think Watchmen can beat any of your standard crews in Batman, run by any half-competent player. I know, I'm throwing the gauntlet down right now. I don't think they're... My main issue with Watchmen is, once you know how to beat Watchmen, you know how to beat. They're at least 4 or 5 major ways to beat a Watchman crew. And all it really comes down to is understanding what each piece in the Watchman crew does, and then learning a specific sequence of how to take out and or neutralize models. Let me give you an example. So if you guys play against me, take notes, because I play a Watchman crew from time to time. The only reliable damage dealers in a Watchman crew are the Comedian and Rorschach. And Rorschach actually has double duty because Rorschach is the guy with the grappling hook. So he's going to be torn between going around the board trying to score objectives, which if you're at a 5 model crew, you need. So he'll be torn between that and doing melee damage to people. And most of the time, you'd rather be scoring the objectives because melee damage, but it's not a reliable way to win games unless you're rocking like a katana or something nice like that. So Rorschach isn't the most, he's not the most difficult guy to kill. So you got him and you got the Comedian. Now the Comedian has high endurance, but the Comedian doesn't have, acrobat. He does have psycho, so he doesn't lose counters as he takes damage, and the 9 endurance is quite nice. Enough resources to just taking him out, or better yet, just make him waste his shots on stupid crap, because you will. I mean, a Watchman crew is so happy to do damage to anybody that they'll just take the shot. You know what I mean? So easy to bait the Comedian into shooting at your stuff. So in order, you kill Rorschach or Comedian. Statistically, you'll kill Rorschach first. He's the less durable of the two, right? Then you have that leaves Night Owl, Silk Spectre 2, and Ozymandias, right? And of those 3, Ozymandias is really the only one that's worth a damn, and conditional worth a damn. Okay, Ozymandias is a tank. He can defend a lot of attacks. He can take a punch. He can block and dodge and do all this stuff. The one thing Ozymandias cannot do is he is terrible at delivering damage. He is not built for that. Neither is Silk Spectre. Neither is Night Owl. Night Owl is is so close to completely pointless that you have one move with Night Owl. Okay, you keep Night Owl off the board and you drop him off with Archie. You maybe throw a batarang or whatever he calls his things at somebody, and then you just park on an objective. But Night Owl is stupidly easy to kill. You know, and he's clearly not worth his points in any fight. I mean, he just does not do enough. He's got total vision, but who cares? He's got no real means of dealing with anybody. So then you got Night Owl, and then finally you got Silk Spectre. What does she do? She's kind of like a shittier version of Ozzy. She's a shitty, weak tank. She's got a high defense, and she's got counterattack. So most activations, you activate her, you set up counterattack, and then you wait. Because she doesn't deal much damage. She's sort of fast. She can kind of get up the board. But if you stick her in for any period of time, she'll die. But worse than actually having her die is an opponent that just simply realizes that she doesn't do anything if you don't do anything to her. She relies on counterattack because she relies on her high defense, and because she doesn't actually do any damage. Her only point is to try to get across the field, maybe tie up a couple of key models, try a counterattack or two, and then try to park on an objective. Again, you're only dealing with 5 models, so when you're dealing with 5 models, count on 2 of them on any given turn. If you expect to win the game, count on having 2 of them sitting on objectives. That's 40% of your fighting force gone. So, and it's watchmen. So 40% of them are gone. Let's say the 2 that you park on objectives are and we'll just say Silk Spectre, right? So that they're actually contributing to the team. Well, then you have the other 3, which are decent or halfway decent, but they're not. Even them are not good enough to stand up against a prop or a crew that's going to be scoring objectives with henchmen and still has better damage than you. It's going to have more access to things like Batclaw, can get across the board faster. They can outnumber you. And individually, they have guys that do things like they do your job better than you do. You know what I mean? For example, is just thinks Watchmen are like a joke because they have their weakest guy on Court of Owls can easily outdamage people on the Watchmen crew. Watchmen are just built funny. It's just a weird crew. She reminds me of, I'm surprised they aren't adding the old Watchmen. That might actually make them more interesting if they did add, the old Watchmen. Put a little more versatility in that team. Interesting. Silk Spectre can hit anything. She can't hit anything with strength 5. I know. She's strength 5+. Who cares? She's going to park on you and put counterattack on you. You just get up and walk away. There's like, oh, look, Silk Spectre, good job. Walk away. If she parking on an objective, park on her. Like, don't even bother trying to attack her. Just be like, dare her to try to remove you. Because job away. Even if you're not scoring that objective, you just neutralize her from the objective, you're still getting the upper hand because you have more guys that can hit other objectives. And if Silk Spectre actually tries to damage you, she'll be there all game. There's like no... So I think that character is just awful. It's not a good... Oh shoot, I bought new primer, so let me just clean this airbrush. And you got virtually the same problem with Night Owl, except it's even worse because it's easier to hit Night Owl. Like, Night Owl is really bad. Those 2 characters are super bad. They're 50 points apiece. And I know you said it reminds you of Comic Canary. Comic Canary has the canary cry. She has undercover. She has acrobatic. She's like way more useful. She's not great. Comic Canary is not great. This is an airbrush. Comic Canary is not great, but at 50 points, she's decent. And then if you have her, like what I do with Comic Canary is I run her, I have her lead my Birds of Prey. So now she has reinforced gloves. Now she has leadership skills. Like Comic Canary, and she has 1 additional willpower. I think that puts her at willpower 7, I believe, for 50 points. That she suddenly becomes a steal on a Birds of Prey team. Looks like my compressor's hugging the bottom of my desk and making additional sounds. Canary works for her points. She is a very good 50-point model. But again, put her in Birds of Prey and make her lead it, and you have a steal. You have a really nice 50-point model. And Canary Cry is awesome. If the only issue you have with Canary Cry is you have to get in really close to use it. So if she's not well supported, you better be ready to get the hell out of there after you do it, or be prepared to lose her. I've lost the 50-point Canary leader with Birds of Prey, and it sucks from a victory point standpoint, but it's not an absolutely crushing loss, you know? It's not like losing Batman or the Joker. The one thing I do like about having cheap leaders or cheap bosses is it's not that big of a deal when you lose them. When I lose Catman, I cry like real tears. Oh, man. Here we go with Catman. I do love Catman, people. I will never apologize for it. Catman is awesome. And I feel them at every opportunity. Remember Jose Canary on my Jokers? Yeah. Cry is devastating. You get first turn, and you're lined up to do Canary Cry before the turn begins. You can screw up a guy's entire plans. I did that to Mark's Suicide Squad on the last turn of a game that we played. I used to get Rick Flag, Harley, and I think another character. Of a game, Suicide Squad's usually only rocking like 3 or 4 people by that point in the game anyway. And losing, he basically lost his whole crew to stun. We just end, you know, it's basically just, let's just end the game because that's because you keep making those bitch ones. I sure do. You know it. But yeah, Watchmen, I have a love-hate relationship with them. Watchmen, I love the idea of the Watchmen. I just don't think they're a legitimate team if you actually want to win with any sort of consistency. I almost look at them as they're kind of my demo crew. Like, if I'm going to teach someone the game and I kind of want to handicap myself a little bit, that's what I'll play. I'll play Watchmen. Because even though I know what I'm doing and the other guy doesn't, like, I'll put Watchmen on one side of the board and then I'll put, you know, Batman, Joker, one of those crews on the other side. You'll put Birds of Prey on the other side of the board. Right? We could do a 5-on-5. And for 5 Watchmen, I have that Spice Girls Birds of Prey list, which is titty balls good. Right? Because now you're talking about the 66-point Black Canary. Reinforced gloves, willpower 6, and she's got hidden and technique. And so now that's pretty legit. You have a model. You basically just gave your model permission to use technique every turn that she's not using Canary Cry. That's like really nice. And we haven't even really gotten into the strategies for teams like Birds of Prey, where you can take 2 models in Birds of Prey, hold them back and drop them off anywhere on the board, you know, and then your 5-man Birds of Prey team, you've got Canary leading it. You've got the Batgirl on that team. You've got classic Poison Ivy, which is amazing on that team. And then you have Huntress, and who else? Who am I missing? Huntress, Black Canary, Batgirl. Oh, Catwoman. You have modern age Catwoman on that team, who is just a scoring machine. That team, that 5 Prey list is legit. That is a legit list. I will put that up against pretty much any list. You know, I'd get nervous playing against like Nelson's 10-man Two-Face crew because you're just going to get out activated so badly, but still it's still a good thing. Look at that. Seems weird Zenithal priming Batman when we know we're just going to make him dark again. So yeah, that's kind of weird. Whoa. So a bad thing just happened. Got a little bit of gravel from the base. Blew up from the airbrush. Ended up on his leg. Luckily, early enough in the process where I can just reprime that spot. I found out what Sneak does. It's a 5 centimeters move during the victory point phase. Sweet! That is a really cool ability. The victory point phase? So do you take your score first and then do your sneak move? Kind of like how tracking works? Or is it before? I think it should be before. Because that would be sick. You just like park a character with sneak like close to an objective, but not close enough for your opponent to worry about it. And then during the scoring phase, walk up and grab that objective. That would be amazing. I hope that's the case. All right. One more color for primer. Yeah, modern age Catwoman machine. Obviously, you're going to want to have loot on the board when she's down, but there is kind of a decision as to whether or not you want to put loot as one of your own or gamble and hope that your opponent puts loot down. Because it's actually kind of better if your opponent puts loot down, right? Because if your opponent puts loot down and either player can interact with loot, they're going to put it near your deployment zone. And you have a character with a backpack and preferred loot. So she basically, with move 4 and preferred objective, she's going to walk up to that loot, throw that thing in her backpack, and then just lull the rest of the game. You don't even really have to do anything with her for the rest of the game. You just kind of just keep her out of trouble. Maybe throw her in to assist people from time to time, but that's all she has to really do. Now, the one thing I'm struggling with my five girl Birds of Prey list is Poison Ivy is amazing, but she's a difficult character to run and line up. You know, to line up that hypnosis with. That's what you really take her for most of the time. Is you want that control pheromone, and that can be a difficult thing to do. So if you're not triangulating it properly, you know, why are we taking her? I'm taking her because I was originally running Shiva as the high point model. But alternately, you can run the 75-point Katana as the high point model, and that's a good model. The 50-point katana, also a really good model. You got options. That Wonder Woman is dope. Oh, it's just a start. That's awesome. So there we have it. All right. It's early enough. We can do a little bit of color blocking on these dudes. So for Wonder Woman, I'm going to color block her skin, actually, as opposed to the other colors. So we're going to do a couple of colors for her. And I'm looking at her skin in the artwork. And she's an Amazon, so, you know, she's going to be relatively tan. So she's not going to be as fair as the, you know, most of the time when I paint female models, I paint them with really fair skin. So in this case, I'm not. I'm gonna make her a little more tan. So we're gonna do kind of the male skin that I typically do: heavy skin tone, tan highlight. In terms of color blocking, it's really only going to be 2 colors and maybe a wash. So let's see what we do here. I don't know why I just like self-narrated. Whatever. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to hit this from pretty far away. Because I want to build the color fairly slowly. But I also want to take advantage of my pre-shading. Cool. All right. So now I'm going to skip the middle color all the way up to the top highlight. All right. So I'm going to go all the way up to Youthful Flesh. And build a gradient there. And then we're going to hit it with by spraying a wash on it. It's going to be kind of wild. Okay, so we're going all the way up to Youthful Flesh. And this is kind of cool. I did this on Jose's Killer Frost, and it gave me that really cool color gradient that I like. So I'm trying it here. And if I like this, if this works, then I'm going to do this on the Amazon set. All right. Whoa. I hate that when that happens. That stickum is not quite good enough. put her on this stickum. Okay, so far so good. Now this next part's a little tough, but if it works, it's going to be awesome. Let's just see how we do. And if it doesn't work, it's just paint. You can always fix it. So I'm gonna do a little bit of flesh wash. Okay? But it's too potent. I'm gonna throw it in with just a little bit of glazed medium. And we're gonna be really careful about where we put this. Again, with the idea that we're gonna come back and highlight anyway. But this will give us a cool little tone. And I'm going to add a little bit of all right. It's a little too. Let me just cover the whole model first. Well, let's put a little bit more in. Hold on. All right. So now I really only want this in the shadows of the model. So right here towards the bottom of the legs. Ooh. There we go. I know it doesn't look like much on camera here, but that is actually quite nice transition. I should be able to work with that. All right, let's do some Superman stuff. So the Jim Lee Superman's a little lighter blue than the Trinity Superman, but I'm going to do them both kind of a darker blue. Okay. But let's do that. This is a pretty nice blue. Let's start there. Thanks, dude. So we're just doing color blocking and stuff right now. This will prepare us for the bulk of the model painting. It's going to give us a really nice head start on everything. Okay. So I'm going to shoot a little blue. So again, we're going to build these colors slowly. blue is acting kind of weird. Kind of weird in that it's acting like paint. Probably should have thinned it a little bit more. It's okay. I'm just going to give it another shot of blue here, kind of up the intensity a little bit on this. Okay. Now I'm going to want a light blue. This is kind of a nice light blue, this Andrea blue. Let's try that. May not actually be light enough. You know what? It isn't light enough. I need a... It's gonna look weird when it's airbrushed because it is gonna go way lighter than it really should be. Wow, that is so thin. Let me spray that without. This is really thin. This is just bad painter. Hold on, I gotta shut the door here. I don't want to wake up babies. One sec. Okay. Let's see what happens. This might clog the airbrush. Actually, kind of nice. Okay. Whew. I'm gonna have to wrap my arm around this to do this. Trying to fall off this. Oh, nice. You can see how light that became. Okay, just stick with me. We're not done yet. So now that we have the light down, now we're going to come back in and hit the shadows. They're actually, I probably should come in and hit with almost a near white too. Yeah, because I want to give it, a full gradient. So I think I'll do that. So I need a really, really, really light. This is a really, really, really light color, glacial blue. And this is just going to be the tip tops of the model. I'm glad my music actually picked up. Kind of nice now. Okay. Now, once again, we're going to do this like a zenith of prime. That's just going to be a problem. This like shaky base here. So, basically shooting this from like straight top down. Right? In fact, and you can see it here. All right, got it? Give a little light there on the tops of the thighs. Okay, so now let's so I'm going to start the gradient with an ink, and then when we come to painting, I'll do ink glazing, and that will take us the rest of the way home on the blue. Okay. Now, if I had a really nice airbrush, I could do the red right now, but I'm using a super cheap airbrush. But like that is one of the differences between like what I do and what like the much better painters do. Is they'll block it way better than I just did. Also, they should be able to find their inks faster than I do. All right, here we go. So we're going to do a little bit of blue ink, and I mean sparing. And we're just going to put it in very specific spots. Right? Again. Right here under the arms. And that's a really nice gradient to rock there. Still shocked at how fat this dude's head is. All right. Let's put down a little bit of red, but carefully. It doesn't matter if I overlap with a little bit of the blue because I'm going to have to go back and kind of touch up anyway. But I don't want to do, I just don't want to do so much that it's going to undo that work that I just did. I just want to have a red base coat down so I've got a nice smooth surface to begin with when it comes time to painting the red. Okay. And I'm going to use carmine red for this. And then we'll do Batman real quick. Alexa, shuffle songs by Cut Chemist. Okay. Alexa, next track. Alexa. Like now would be a good time to have like a Sotar 2020 or something. I would prefer a harder Steenbeck Infinity. It does the job. See my little $20 airbrush? A little color blocking going on. This is one of those instances where you want to have reasonably good control with your airbrush. Yeah, yeah. He's good, yeah. Not bad, right? A little bit of a head start on our Supermen. Okay, last but not least, let's get some color blocking down on the bat. Luckily for us, this is way easier. This Batman kind of has a steel look to him, so we're going to go with a dark gray, and then we're just going to add like a neutral gray to it. In fact, I think I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to put the neutral gray down first, and then follow up with the black gray. So I can just shade the the neutral gray with the black gray, and then I can come back and really darken up the model. So I'm gonna need some black gray eventually. And I want a neutral gray. This is kind of a nice, ooh, this cold gray is nice. Let's use that. Do you bleed? You will. Oh, this is fun to paint. This stuff is fun. Big awesome dudes. The SWAT team will be fun. They're not going to be as fun, but that's okay. At least they're the newer kits. All right. Old gray is kind of awesome. So I can put this down somewhat haphazardly because lighter color of the model. Oh man, I really got to change all my little holders, all the fun tack on my holders. I think it's kind of cool. You're gonna have a Superman, and I'll have one at the same time. Not that I don't know. I think you're onto something by saying that World's Finest is kind of an interesting demo team. It's got a little bit of a clog rocking. A little bit of a clog, but that's okay. This. All right. Now let's go in with the black gray. Actually, yeah, black. Yeah. Maybe charcoal gray. Maybe something not quite as dark. Yeah. The reason why is I don't want to do my own shadows, so charcoal gray is a good one. So this is going to be a little bit darker. So we're going to use this on the cloak and the whatnot stuff. Batman is just so easy to paint. I'm rocking a little bit of a leak clog here. We'll just work around it. how it's not quite black. We're going to shoot some of that black in. Okay. Getting a lot of solid. Okay. And this is gonna we're gonna do this last color here of the night. It's just a little shade detail. And I think I just cleared the clog, so that's good. Yeah, it all looks pretty good. All right. So now we're gonna go in with some armor wash, and I'm just gonna throw shadows down. Can't really see it here on camera, but it is leaving a pretty nice finish here. Okay. I feel like I still want to have a little bit more light on this character. So let me do that. I take it back. We're gonna do one more color, and we're gonna do a super light gray. It's kind of nice. This pale blue gray. We're just gonna do, if we do this sparingly enough, it should look pretty good. I just want a little bit of light bouncing off. See that? Just a little bit of light. Doesn't have to be much. That's going to look awesome once I do the rest of the effect on it. All right. So let me clean up my airbrush real quick, and then we'll do a quick recap, and then we're going to shut her down for the night. Overall, pretty excited, man. We didn't pick up a paintbrush, but man, starting to look cool already. We didn't even do the the little babies went to bed at a decent hour. Finished Batman. But whatever. We're on a decent pace right now, so let's shut that down. Okay. Okay, gloves off. And let's show you what we're looking at. Okay. So starting with Batman. As you can see, just real simple, man. Just you can see where I just threw a little light on it. It's got a few different grays in it, but ultimately it looks good. If you look at the studio art, there's a lot of effect there to get the lighting right. We'll work on that when we shade and highlight the model. Then we have the two Supermen. You can see how I have that light spot right there, the center of his chest. That's going to look fantastic once we start inking it. There's a little bit of red here. I'll fix that. Just that's normal when you're color blocking like this. Here's mine. He's looking pretty good. Again, getting a little bit of red there, but just quick touch-up stuff. No big deal. By the time we shade it down, that stuff anyway. And then finally, we got Wonder Woman. She don't look like much on camera right now, but she's gonna look fantastic. We're gonna skin up and then basically glaze it all down. Okay, so that's it, man. That's not bad for the first night's worth of work. We plowed into this project here, and I don't know if I get a decent block of time tomorrow night, I'll be finished with all 4 of these, and I can work on the other part of the commission. Okay, so anyways, that's gonna do it for this video. Hope you guys have a good night, and yeah, we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in.